Good evening. Wandering Beekeeper here. Welcome. We start another evening somewhere far beyond the surface ceiling of the Strigety. We will be exploring Fallen London, which has negative altitude. Let's go on and get that started. Rusty, feel better logo. Yes. We just riffing here. Give it a moment. It's usually a few minutes before people really start showing up. So, and there we go. We have our game screen. Ready to go. No new achievements to explore this session. At the beginning of this session, we've not completed the second run yet. We are still on our second run, having gone with a more audacious approach, shall we say. Been much more successful. We've unlocked a lot of content already, including the path to the domain of the rubbery men, which has been a thing. And then there's the tentacle in the basement, which, you know, this is about the time that I really should probably talk about content warnings. The stream already has an adult content warning on it. There's been a drug reference once already. We're going to talk rather frankly about the sex lives of people who aren't necessarily human. Or who were once, anyway, and we're not sure what's going on now. This is Fallen London, and it is going to go into some very strange corners and poke at human behavior and the foibles thereof. We will talk to some interesting people and some odd people and some... well, if you're here, you've probably been here before. I don't get new viewers very often. But then, I've been told I'm something of an anchovy. No one is indifferent to an anchovy. People either want them or they despise them. There's no middle ground. No one is indifferent to an anchovy. I don't mind its flavor, but salt is more than I can handle these days, sadly. And the same reason I can't eat Takis. It makes me very sad. Still handle the heat and all, but the salt content gives me a headache. Very sad. We're onward, heading onward into Mask of the Rose. I've riffed for a few minutes. I've noticed that Twitch is marking my streams as having muted audio or muted segments. I've started going back through the VODs. I don't normally watch the VODs. I'm not that into my own voice. But I spent some time playing one of the, well, playing last week's VOD earlier today, and I got about halfway through and didn't seem to be any muted audio at all, and I'm really wondering. The only music in the stream proper is that in the game, which I've paid for and is being played through Steam, and you know, it's all proper use of the material. I really don't. I haven't found a muted audio segment yet. I'm really wondering. I even last week went to the trouble of referring obliquely to a song, and rather than even singing a line or two of it, just to avoid the potential. But you know, it's Twitch's algorithm, and Twitch's algorithm is notoriously banjaxed. Let us move on. We move on to slot 2, last played last week. Let's move into it. Here we go. Now, not totally sure where we are, so we're going to do the usual thing. We're going to start by recalling the past, because recalling the past tends to give us story elements. We need story elements. So, we do the thing. We've only got 2 options left, and only one looks like it's going to give us any actual information. So we're probably going to burn this out pretty quickly. Let's go with this one. So, the very sweet creatures, really. I shouldn't have used the word plague. Yeah, bats, I agreed. Bats are harmless. You really shouldn't use the word plague to describe bats. They're probably frightened out of their mind by the fact that this city has fallen into their cavern. They don't pose a threat. We had some in the attic of the old house. Too high up for me, but the servants complained. Grizz had bats in her belfry. Hello, Slux. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad you could join. Grizz has bats in her belfry, or at least did at one time. Got to remember to reach for the water. The servants complained. Yes, Grizz, we know you come from a very bougie background. We move on. They didn't like the sound of them rustling around up there. Well, maybe the bats didn't like the sound of you rustling around down there. Shouldn't it be sunrise now? The clock fell off the shelf. I don't know what time it is. That didn't even give us anything. That didn't even give us any story elements. I think I've about worn out the recalling the past thing, going at it rather aggressively. Let's look at Build a Story and see what we've got. Okay, we have... this one that we don't know what actions Mr. Pages is taking. So that's what we've got to poke at. Here we've got a complete, this is a complete story. We need to take this off to Rachel. Let's look at our outfit. If we're going to go see Rachel, if we're going to do anything at all besides go to see Mr. Pages, let's we're going to see Rachel. Let's wear a Spearfir's fork. Rachel has a relationship with Milton, after all. And I've got a bang here on torso. What's going on? I've got the tailor's apron. Whoop-dee. The elegant cloak inspires a lofty attitude and an inclination to protect the weak. Oh my. The black coat is, I think, a little better. I'm pretty sure this is what the Undertaker starts with. Then there's the Sailor's Top, which, you know, not quite it. Head outside. Where have we got to go? We've got all sorts of things happening. We've got a bang over here at the Warrens of Amber. We need to take the census with the rubbery creatures. We should do a census with at least one person. Oh, I really want to get this over to Rachel. Take Rachel, my latest plot work. Yes, let's go on and do that. We already decided to do that. So, satisfied with what I've got. We don't get Algernon until Act 2 anyway. Let's see, we get Rachel. You know, I do like the highlighted option. Of course the Masters will control surface access. Okay, I'm wondering will the Masters even allow us to go if there wasn't a way back at all. I have perhaps created some trust between us. Silence falls. We're talking about nothing here but the news, just like everyone else, I suppose. David is making plans to go back. He says Neith doesn't agree with him. It's about to be much less agreeable. That his stomach will be settled if he can just get back to sunlight and fresh air and our old food. And I know it's what almost anyone would want. But then I picture myself up there, consigned to the spare bedroom in the house of some relatives in Brighton, living on charity. Now, your house is down here, and it's just lost. The property's lost. Writing away to other magazines, whatever magazines might be currently published in Manchester. I just imagine it's such a dismissive thing, and a wave of the hand in the air as if... does it even matter? Can you imagine? The South is gone, the North remains. All of England, grey and steel and factories. Oh dear. You know, I hadn't really thought about that, but yes, that leaves Sheffield and Birmingham and Manchester. I've been to Manchester. When I went to Manchester in the, I think it was the mid-90s, early 90s, it was bloody gray and bleak at the time. It was before the shambles was blown up. My wife got to have lunch there. It was a, forget, 14th or 13th century tavern that they found while tearing down old buildings to make room for a mall. They hit thatch and everybody stopped work, down to tools. Yes, I am tangenting. Everybody down to tools, and they called in the preservationists, and because in Britain you do that sort of thing. And they very carefully removed the overbuilt stuff from on top of the tavern. I mean, the pub was still in business, but everybody had forgotten that the pub, which was part of this complex of buildings, had once been a standalone building, and they lovingly restored it and then built a shopping mall around it, so that you go in the shopping mall, and in the middle of the mall, there's this Shakespearean-era thatched roof pub. And my wife got to have lunch there. I was doing an install at the uni. And then we had to move on. I didn't get to go see it, and about a year later, the IRA blew it up. I doubt my style of writing sells in Liverpool. I'm going to sympathize with her point. See the difficulty. Wouldn't mind the sunlight and a decent meal, but in any case, it's suppose it doesn't have to be decided quite yet. It'll be a little time before passenger ships are fitted up for the Kumayan Canal. Alright, alright. That's rather specific, and it's not chosen just because it's alliterative. Well, there's the Kumayan Sibyl, a famous priestess, prognosticator. Is it important? Because it was an important city of ancient Italy during the Greek, Samnite, and Roman periods. In the medieval period, it became a military fortification. Probably referring more to the mystic meaning of it. The Fallen London is not afraid of a Hodgson. Not for my happy plot. I lay out the plot as I've arranged it, especially the neat conclusion. This ends very cheerfully. She seems rather put out. Yes. Listen, I know you're new to this, but this plot is better for a short story. With a serial novel, we must constantly take our heroine from one predicament to another. Let it go. I'll bring her something else. Alright, we need to end with a problem that rolls into the next book. Yeah, if I sit down to write and I don't have suitable incidents in mind, nothing will go right. The characters will talk themselves in circles. Oh. Absolutely. Rachel is such a dev insert here. Let's flirt with her. Do we want to flirt with her, or do we want to turn the subject to her artistic friends? Because talking about Milton is always interesting. Rachel's conversation circles back to Milton's salon, which is plainly the source of most of her social engagement. Wouldn't entertain anyone who painted or sketched, who committed acts of sculpture. I think we've seen this before. Didn't afford a view. Solomon Simeon makes all his painted heroes into a temptation and a reproach. Oh my. I'm excited to talk to our yellow-eyed friends again. So am I. And yes, a little bit of queer content here. Milton looking at the painted heroes and going, they're both a temptation and a reproach. After that, the rules against visual representation were somewhat relaxed. Company grew more mixed. It's evidently central to Rachel's existence. One thing that David will not allow her to discuss at home. Tells all of it to me. There's still the pages to do today, if you'll excuse me. Who do I? Look after yourself, my dear. Let's let it go one more time here. Let's just let this build slowly before we take this to a more physical level. Pages to go. Oh. I spent some time working on bird spotting today. For those of you new to the stream who might be tuning into a VOD or whatever, I'm writing a Dickensian-style serial novel. It's coming out in chapters on a somewhat irregular basis. I'm trying to get at least one a month. Just put out one recently that was a very large one, 5,000 words, in which the sabotage run went off. As the delivery drivers from the Bappery are finally getting some of their own back against the Stickney and Putnam factory. We'll be seeing in the chat at some point a link to my coffee. Please investigate that. It's only $1 a month, and I'm honestly more anxious to have readers than I am for the money. The dollar is a token because coffee says I have to. So, let's head outside. We have, at the boarding house, bit of a bang there, ministry misbehavior with Archie, could, but... Let's see, Hogslane Market. I could build a friendship with Ivy or look at her goods for sale. The Bazaar. Build my friendship with Mr. Pages. The Warrens of Amber. Let's go take the census with the rubbery creatures. Let's see. I'm going to change. Shall I? If I'm there on ministry business, this is the thing I ran into last grind, is that wearing the badge is a bit off-putting. But wear the badge. Well, yes, I'm here on official business, but I'm not likely to I think, learn as much. It's off-putting. The Spearfirst Fork clearly says that I am willing to deal with the other powers of the Neath. It might even... I could see the Rubberymen, if they want to make me an ally, even giving me something... maybe equivalent to the fork. Something I could put on my lapel? Let it... Ooh, how would you put a handful of warm amber on your lapel? It would just drip off. I'm going to be satisfied with this. Ah, you decided to come back. We took a bet. I said he'd frightened you away. Batachakan disagreed. But Batachakan makes a series of smug honks. The fork on my lapel conveys a pronged and sinister purpose. At any rate, it makes small talk irrelevant. I explain my task as well as I can. Let's try to establish some trust. That is the suggested action here, and I think it's a good one. I live in Mrs. Chapman's boarding house. That at least offers some companionship. He lets out a warble of acknowledgement. Do you live alone? Batachakan makes a cheery burbling that is difficult to interpret. It may be effusive praise, it may be the most cutting insult that was ever warbled. He makes a series of lonely hoots. Oh dear. I imagine this sounding something like a dismal foghorn. You know, like the trademark of the original Life Buoy soap. You had to know that to get one of the jokes in Bugs Bunny. Cultural reference. We're together here alone. The first of his kind in London, and the last of mine. We make do, as you are fond of saying here. Again, I'm going to try to establish some trust. I think more of love than I did before the fall. Is that foolish? Have you been in love? He lets out a warble of acknowledgement. Are you married? Batachakan makes a cheery burbling that is difficult to interpret. Ah, that again. He makes a series of diffident honks. Some seem to indicate Barkachin. He lacks the requisite vocabulary. I believe the Rubberymen consider themselves a choir or a chorus. They live in a polycule, possibly an extended polycule. The word commingling is used. Well, of course they don't reproduce like humans at all. I hope you do not wish for me to contemplate this subject further. It's... Apparently, Batachakan has been more has provided more detail than Barkajan is comfortable translating at the moment. I can lament the current lack of commingling in my life to Barkajan. I could lament the current lack of commingling in my life to Batachakan, or I could risk asking, since she seems well disposed despite the warning. Barkajan strikes me as one of those people who is going to remain calm and reasonable even when she's removing your spleen through your ear with a spoon. It's simply become necessary, and it's going to be one of those things. I'm not going to risk provoking her, but I'm going to take a wild risk and walk to Batachakan. To commingle. Batachakan says, Sutharu. I just learned a word or phrase and have no idea what it means. Uths. He praises your abstinence. It is a rubbery virtue. Oh dear. Oh, no. Oh, abstinence is not a not a virtue. The wiggle of Batachakan's tentacles suggests he praises no such thing. This is going to go in a very hentai direction, I have a feeling. They are kin. The distinction between one and the next dissolves. Memory is shared. That's interesting. So it is a commingling of mind and memory as well as of body. Friend, sibling, spouse, ancestor, those terms don't mean to them what they mean to us. I can express an interest in the intensity of the connection, which could get me into all sorts of trouble. I could show disgust, which is wildly inappropriate here. I've spent effort building some trust with this entity. I don't want to upset them. I could express envy for that sense of connection. Humans just can't. Sounds like an enviable state of being. A greater connection with one's own kind. They are able to disagree with one another sometimes, even made as they are. What is the state of your own heart? Do you have a spouse or lover? Write down that there are no alliances worth recording. It will be true enough. Batachakan hoots appreciatively and produces a piece of slate. Another tentacle holds a piece of chalk. Well, aren't you a clever person? And you could have done that. Barkajan reluctantly takes the chalk and slate while Batachakan gestures. The slate reads, Greeblings! Well, of course it does. A pause. Scribbling. Many greeblings. There is further scribbling. Conveyance of merry greeblings today? It's a question. Now, is greeblings a mangling of an English word like greetings, or is it something that the rubbery men do? Many greeblings to them too. I suspect if we convey merry greeblings, this is a question. Do you want to convey greeblings? Requested friend, partner, enemy, Barkajan, essence gather. Commence barter, merchant dreams, trade coin want. Okay. Requested. Friend, partner, enemy, Barkajan. Oh, that's a complex title. I would love to know the original word that translates as friend, partner, and enemy, all three in one. Essence gather. Barkajan essence gather. Essence gather. Requested them do this thing. Commerce barter. Merchant dreams. Trade coin want. Okay, so I have this thing that I want to trade with you, or that I want to sell to you. Insisted. He means the market. Requested, perpetrate commingling. Oh, that's such a phrase. Perpetrate commingling. I think I'm going to have to post that with no context at some point, just because it's, yes, there is further frantic scribbling. Admixture essences require proceed commercially become. Want to, I have this stuff, I want to make it a commercial success. I think. The chalk snaps. Whoops. Oh, for the sake of heaven, I told you this would happen. And it took me days to scrimp up enough to let the wretched woman consider letting me have it. Batachikon makes plaintive, plangent honking noises with increased intensity. Honking intensifies. Now I cannot go and fetch another. If you would have allowed me to translate for myself... We have functioned admirably these last centuries. Why you wish to change the arrangement is beyond me. They've been together for centuries. Barkajan just blinks. Cautiously indicate change might be desirable. Offer to buy more chalk. Oh, I've only got 3 pennies. Suggest that Batachikon was not very coherent anyway. Oh, that would be rude. I'm wearing the Spirifer's Fork, and I am thinking that it is giving me these rude options here, although I'm not getting a fork next to them to indicate it. Let's offer to buy more chalk. I could fetch more chalk. Batachikon makes a hopeful honk. Out of the question. I will not go back to that woman cap in hand. The chalk always snaps, and Batachikon has yet to grasp the fundamentals of your grammar. And your etiquette. Better he receive further instruction from me before we make a second attempt. We sense the city out there is not yet ready for our emergence. Yeah. Batachikon is keen. Too keen. His tentacles are like roots making for the surface. I'm sorry, roots make for deeper soil. The stem makes for the surface. I have advocated caution. Barkajan is obviously not a gardener or a botanist. But you are the first personage to encounter us. Personage, that's an interesting word. I don't see why devil creatures would have to be rude. I don't know, I think it's... It comes off as those people who are rude and then tell you they just speak the truth. You know, it's got that sort of thing, that sort of feeling to it. But Barkajan has used the word personage, which in an Asian culture, person and personage are very different things. What do you think? Am I incorrect? I could reassure her that caution is preferable. I could suggest they'll need to manage like everyone else. Well, yeah, I mean, London fell on her city. There's nothing, certainly nothing left for her here, other than Patachakan. Suggest others of an uncanny nature are already in London. I have the proof on my lapel. Devils walk the streets of London. Dockers speak of men of clay, too. Ah, I am familiar with both. The devils, well, let us say their neutrality in political matters is not to be believed. Anyone who says that they are neutral in political matters is either lying or is on the side of the oppressor. The claymen are admirable laborers. I discussed philosophy with one as the scriptoria were rebuilt. He called himself unfinished. He seemed finished to me. No, the unfinished are always missing something. It's not always visible. They are a metaphor, I think, for disability, because some of the unfinished I have met, what was missing was not visible. But both groups, you will concur, are more human than our friend Batachakan. The problem is that he has a request. He has a purpose. To go ahead, to prepare the path. For the others, they wait below. This is getting really chthonic. I owe them a debt for my own safeguarding when I left the Fourth to its ruin. I can assume the worst of this mission, or I could ask what the others are, hoping that they're just other rubberymen. And who are these others? Friends of yours? His polycule? They are like and unlike him. Our Batachakan is singular, but he represents many waiting in the amber warrens below. They have not always been treated kindly. I myself was unkind. When they emerge, they hope Batachakan's work will have gone forward. Batachakan makes a series of frantic burbles. Oh, for goodness sake. He has something for you. A piece of amber from the vats. I would undertake this task myself, but Batachakan fears I will upset someone. As blunt as Barkajan can be, a baseless accusation, but since my impeccable service is in question... Oh, now she's insulted. We would like to ask you. Batachakan makes a strangled keening noise. A stall holder. Oh, he wants you to give the amber to someone who owns a place of commerce. I need to find a merchant, bring them this stuff, and go, can you sell this? I can accept it with enthusiasm. I can politely decline to take it, which will end the storyline, or put me into an argument. React with justified revulsion. It's amber? I can ask what it is. That seems reasonable. Sorry to say, I don't know what that is. Batachakan makes a series of sibilant, high-pitched squeaks. It is... We would say spirit, but it is not that. It is resinous that is attuned to the essence of those it comes into contact with. Comes into contact with it. A resin that attunes itself to your essence when you hold it. Like leaving a fingerprint in warm clay. It is how I was found when the city fell. He remembered me. I'll accept the amber. I take the amber in my hand, oddly warm to the touch and clammy. It is important that the amber be delivered to one of a mercantile orientation. Hello, Ivy. I hope you do not mean that dreadful costermonger at the market. That's... Oh, just as I say it, Barkington's like, no, not her. I refuse to translate your speech for her. I do not know nearly enough insults in this tongue. But Tachikon makes a series of indignant honks. Oh, very well. Someone vaguely successful. Don't ask me why, I don't understand it myself. They need to hold the amber, then bring it back here. Oh, he wants to get an imprint from a successful shopkeeper in order to maybe learn how to do it himself. I'm willing to bet that this amber, from the description, it tunes to the essence. It sounds like it's almost some sort of biological recording device. Let a shopkeeper who is successful hold it, bring it back, and now you can... They share memories. They share memories. It's... But Tachikon will be able to see whatever memories the amber captures and maybe learn something about how trade actually works. I think... But Tachikon makes a series of frenetic warbling noises. Ah, yes, he wishes you to have one for yourself as well. New item acquired, amber brooch. A token of rubbery kind and an expression of commitment to the Neath. Surface? What surface? Yeah. Now, if you'll find your own way out. I picked up an amusing novel at the market. It is about a very enterprising young lady named Audley. She is full of moral fiber. I am keen to return it to it. I have a bad feeling about this book and a suspicion that they are making yet another obscure historical reference. Lady Audley's Secret, a novel by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. It's a sensation novel, was published in 1862. They made a historical reference here. The plot centers on accidental bigamy. Braddon's bigamous heroine deserts her child, pushes husband number 1 down a well, thinks about poisoning husband number 2, and sets fire to a hotel in which her other male acquaintances are residing. Full of moral fiber, full of something. I think Barkington is either not understanding the novel or is in for a bit of a shock. There have been 3 silent film adaptations, 1 UK television version in 2000, and 3 minor stage adaptations. Lady Audley's Secret. I'm going to have to stash that for later. That sounds like source material that I should be reading. At this point, I go back to Horatius. One of the things I love about Fail Better Games is that they are not afraid to do a Hodgson. They are not afraid to drop a historical reference. I had to look that one up. I've never heard of that novel before, and I really feel like I should have. Alright, I'm going to try rebuilding this story here because we have to struggled with regret. And is infamous. A tragic ending. Save and exit. I think I'm going to dinner. Yes, I'm going to dinner. Get into supper. Well, we have a Grizz. Horatia arrives late to supper. What's on your boots, Horatia? Looks like milk, and it smells like a sewer. Don't go into the basement. Reminder that I already know about the tentacle. I know about the tentacle thing. It's not only that. The tentacle won't harm you, but there's a bit of a mess. The floor down there is flooded. I moved everything to higher shelves. Flooded with what? Well, I can offer my help. I can offer no hypotheses. The hat would have me delight in the mystery. Let's just go with the hat. How marvelously strange. I could do with fewer mysteries if they made less of a mess. There's a brief lull in the conversation. I don't think it's something she... Well, it's obviously not something she wants down there. Let's see. I can tell her what I found in the Ember Warrens. I think I should. I went to the caves below the sinkhole looking for the men with tentacles. Thank you, but I've gone myself if I could. Full of undulating wigglies ready to undermine London's cellars? Horrible tentacles oozing forth to pull us from our beds? No, nothing like that. Oh? I'm going to just tell her the truth. I met a rubbery man. Explain about Barkajan and Batachikon. I suppose it stands to reason we're not the first down here. Can't be just devils and masters and what have you, but ordinary sorts too. Well, as ordinary as a man that looks like something found dredged up on a hauler ship can be. Seems a sorry fate to lose your home twice over. I hope something can be done for them. Horatia's feeling sympathy for them. Horatia doesn't say much, but I can see him in her good books. Her generosity and her protection of her own are worth emulating. Let's do that. She protects her own. She gives away whatever anyone needs from her. And she keeps a tight circle of people who matter to her most. This sounds like good. Yeah, good thing, yes. Don't stare, it gives me the fidgets. Alright. Apparently I can host a visitor before bed. Let's go on and do this. Oh, hello! This is a surprise. How many centuries? You're looking well for it, I must say. I slept through a significant amount of it. Oh dear, if she mentions having, once been male, that's going to be an Orlando reference, and I don't want an Orlando reference. Orlando sucked. And I'm told resin is an excellent preservative. Buried in resin? Well, not every day I meet someone from Mongolia, let alone also being over 100 years old. Not that I meet many people these days. But I am glad you're not involved in the business in the basement. Cellars are best for wine and Altag. Arag? Wine and Irag, and not connected by doors. Irag is a Mongolian beverage, if I remember correctly. Should bear this in mind. I'll leave you two to it. Horatio, so this is where you live. The decor is noisy. I feel an ache of the head coming on. It is rather busy. By Mongolian standards, this is bloody cluttered. But preferable to noisome caverns dripping with amber. I can suggest she can't keep away from me. That seems a bit flirtatious, and I'm not sure I want to flirt with this woman. Remark that we're all dwelling in caves these days. How she found me, please. I can't imagine the roofs will keep out the damp long. This is why you should use copper and marble. That makes sense. Like a real city. But I did not solely come to disparage your inferior village. Wish to talk to you alone. This seemed the most reasonable means of achieving that. It is Patachikan's request regarding the amber. It is important that the amber is returned so we may gather the essences. Patachikan has fixated upon the commercial enterprises in the city. I do not mind indulging his whims, but the goal is to effect a peaceable rubbery introduction to Londinium. Nothing more. What she is hiding, ask if she is afraid of what will happen if Patachikan gets his wish. Is he worried he won't need you anymore? What do I have to fear? You? Is that your game? To drive a wedge? Your facility with his language is, of course, beginner's luck. Or perhaps better ascribed to his long acquaintance with me. He has learned to better communicate with our kind through my tutelage. So be assured, though you may understand him well enough, I am his interpreter. You know what? I'm just going to give way to her. She wants to go this direction. I did not mean to challenge you. Challenge me? I who survived the liquor, the eyes, the roses, and the ruin? Liquor is what falls in lieu of snow. I who in a matter of months has mastered your mongrel tongue enough to interpret the tentacled writhings of the rubbery men through it? But I see I've made my point. I apologize if I am abrupt with you. But I barely know you, and our acquaintance has not made me desire to know you better. Thus far. Perhaps if you can show us you can be trusted with this matter of the amber, then we may have more faith in each other, and I shall feel less of a need to protect my, well, I shall intrude no further. Good day. She's scary. There's something about her that is just scary. View the day in my journal. Okay, visit Ivy to give her the amber. It's the thank you game devs for being very blatant about that. Craft a plot for Angel's next novel. I've got that done. Craft a story about what's really going on. Tell our champions to show him. Deliver filled census pages. Finish paying my back rent is done. So those 3 pennies I've got and the 2 census pages are mine. Back. Four days remain in the season of confessions. We move on. Oh, let's see. Masters will exchange warm winter clothing for disused street signs. I've got no time for any additional tasks. Enough quests already. Oh, hello. Horatia offered Harjit a place to bring the wounded. That's new. Maybe there's more. If you find anyone wounded out there needs looking after, if they're safe to move, I'll bring them here, but ma'am, there might not be anyone. No one is hurt, all the better. Most of them I find are dead, ma'am. One young man was crushed by a beam across the middle. Someone had come and taken off his face. Taken it off? Clean cuts. I hope they waited until he was dead. Ew! Alright, that went straight into body horror. And outside. Okay, what do we got? We gotta go to Hogsland Market, and we gotta take Patachkan's Amber to Ivy. Let's get that done. Whew, we got a lot of stuff about it to do. I want to change, get rid of the Spirifer's Fork. I'm going to go see Ivy, and I'm going to put on the Amber Brooch. The coffee link has dropped into the chat. The brooch makes it look as though I'm doing some sort of official business, though who can say for what office? There's a lot of people who have used jewelry for political signifiers. There was an entire website dedicated to Queen Elizabeth's jewelry and cataloging the events to which she wore each piece, because each one had political significance. I wrote that into a story just recently. A particular character who was wearing a brooch that suggested she was going to be going to the Admiralty today. Alright, I'm satisfied with this. I am representing the rubbery men here. Good Halamus, brother. I trust you as well as can be expected. Your toadstools are looking handsome today. The amber brooch suggests I'm here on someone's business, even if it doesn't say whose. Ask Ivy to hold Patachkan's amber. Could you take this for a moment? In the name of sanity, what is it? Is it perspiration or oil? Let's just be truthful. It comes from a man made of rubber who lives under London. Wherever I thought we were going, this is not where I thought we'd end. Under London, you say? Like a man, but not. Tentacles and amber. Give it here. I suppose it's no worse than a hatbox full of sick. Ew! Which I have been asked to handle before. Ew! I can hardly recommend self-employment. It feels warm. I assume not from your mitts. Curious piece. It feels like it's friendly somehow. Like I'm meant to be touching it. I wonder how it works. Here, take it back. I'm going to not worry about it, or tell her what I know. I'm going to simply thank her. Thanks for your help. I've had worse requests, though I do now have a powerful urge to wash my hands, or wipe them upon the next demanding grand dame who sweeps in here. Was there anything else? No one speaks for a moment. I don't think she's got chalk. I'm not sure I need... don't remember seeing buy chalk on the to-do list. So let's confide in her. Turns to personal things. What do you love best about the Neath now you've come here? Mention the lack of hypocrisy. The world has always been unkind. The Neath doesn't pretend to be otherwise. I can see the sense of that. I know them upstairs, though. They'll find a way to put a hat on it soon enough. New theology of the Neath that makes it all the fault of us sinners if we're dining on mushrooms. Oh well, top of room for me. I'm going to leave my opinion unchanged about Ivy. Trying to get a flirtatious relationship with her, I don't think would be a good idea. I don't think it would work very well. Oh, for heaven's sake, the cat has learned to open the door to my office. I'm going to have to, give this some thought. The one door doesn't really latch. Far too clever. Head outside. Well, we can try the new plot. Let's try the new plot. We'll deal with Mr. Pages some other day. Rachel's familiar with me now, and I'm satisfied with this, and the amber brooch is appropriate. It's not a good day for a call, I'm afraid. The master's not feeling his best. Let's see. Promises to tell. Hustles me out again. They didn't take up too much time. Well, can't take it to Rachel. First. Let's just take the amber back to Barkajan and get that closed out. Back to Batachikan. I'm quite satisfied with this. Come back wearing the brooch. We've mirror imaged the art. Hello. Batachikan burbles a greeting as well. Simply mention the amber. You remember the errand you gave me? If you have the amber with you, I suggest you return it. You might burst otherwise. I could risk annoying Barkajan to learn more about it first, but I don't want to risk annoying Barkajan. Barkajan strikes me as someone who is going to be perfectly reasonable until I get on that last nerve, and then she's going to very quietly cut my throat and be done. As it has been held as requested. Alright. Grasps it as one would a pine cone. Makes a series of surprised honks. They suggest a new possibility has occurred. The tenacity of the merchant is remarkable, as is her doggedness in pursuit of her ambition. Yet there's a grubby mercenary quality to it I cannot approve. Her brows went down. She's not happy. But then she... Barkajan's emotional spectrum seems to be very much like Margaret Thatcher's. Outraged, frustrated, irritated, annoyed. It wasn't much. Still, it puts any doubts to rest. Commerce in the city is nascent. The locals subsist upon a crude barter economy. Yeah, well, we haven't got currency going again now, have we? Bank of England fell with us, and that's got to have done horrible things to the economy of the empire and to the worth of the pound. The time is not right. Batachikan emits a large, excitable warble and indicates insistence. Ugh, right this instant. Forgive me, I need to evacuate the essences from the amber. And you'll go off and do that in private, I hope. I shall be back momentarily. He makes a series of burbling squeaks, escalating in pitch, volume, and duration. I am given to understand that he sees London as a great marketplace. He continues to make energetic pipings, the origins of which are best left unexamined. As to where the piping is coming from, I get the sense that he believes if everything was for sale, then it follows that his status as an outsider is too. Could buy his way into London society. He's not wrong. Batachikan could, in fact, buy his way into London society. A bespoke suit and a top hat would be a good start. Londoners are very class-conscious, and if he dresses like a well-to-do merchant, he makes a percussive noise through the application of several tentacles into each other at studied intervals. That's interesting. I am to understand that through the means of a commercial enterprise he would find his way to the hearts of Londoners. He hopes that I might assist him in securing such a license. There are few authorities in London who could furnish such a thing. I have to go ask Mr. Pages. That was less viscous than previous. Ew. I knew that Termagant at the market was of unwholesome character. Termagant? Really? And her brows come down. I heard warbling while I was gone. Has Patachikon made his proposal, then? He thinks it is time that he be introduced to one of the Khans, so that the lengthy process of rubbery emergence from the Warrens can begin. Uthatharu, says Patachikon. The meaning is clear. This is not what he meant at all. Barkajan glances at me as though for support. We hoped, as the first person to encounter Patachikon in this city, that you would advocate for him with the Khan of Books. I could suggest that her interpretation is incorrect. I'm going to piss her off. Are you sure you caught the meaning, then? I promise to repay frankness somehow in the future. I'll owe you a favor if you tell me. Whatever you wish to collect. Ah, and you have descended to the amber vats, have you? Whiled away long centuries, commingling with the rubbery essences. There's something about this that reminds me immediately of C.J. Cherryh's novel 40,000 in Gehenna. If you have not read 40,000 in Gehenna, I really, really strongly recommend it. It's a brilliant novel by a brilliant author. In it, the one of the two human governments in space, Union, is anxious to slow the advance of Alliance, a new power that has arisen. And so they drop 40,000 people on a planet, ostensibly as a colony. I'm glad it was less viscous than previous. Yes, easier to deal with is always a good thing. But the colony is meant to fail. It's meant to be a mess that Alliance has to clean up and to slow down the advance of Alliance. But the colonists meet something non-human, something that Union's hasty surveys didn't even recognize as sentient. And if you go below into the tunnels and you play put and take with the greens, and you learn the language of the pebbles, the Calibans become intelligible. You will not be the same. But yes. Dreamt of vast and depthless seas, and seen what lingers there in Stygian slumber? No? Then I suggest you do not question my understanding of his speech again. The rubbery men wish to re-emerge. It is best that the process is orderly so as to minimize alarm, and given legal sanction by the Khans of the Bazaar. As the first human to encounter a rubbery man, your voice will lend weight to our argument. She's excluding herself from that. She's a human, isn't she? As I say, the emergence will take years, decades perhaps, in the deepest reaches. Patachikon makes an aggrieved honk. He need not wait. A shop of his own, now. Once permission is granted, we can return to the rest. Establish communion, commingle essences, perhaps even re-establish the old vats. Batachikhan makes a wheezy, deflated gurgle. He makes a forlorn second attempt. London is a market economy. One captures a market by finding a niche. What better niche than a shop in possession of a rubbery man? Batachikhan is eager to begin. It means we can both return to the deep places together. She wants to go back. He doesn't. And prepare for the emergence, of course. Yeah, as much as she can delay it. They both look at me as if waiting for my response. I am going to promise Batachikhan I will ask Mr. Pages to help him establish a shop. I will help Batachikhan open his shop. Batachikhan makes a squeezed warble of delight. And leave the rubberies waiting below while you fritter away time on this distraction. Hope you're satisfied with your new interpreter. Batachikhan makes a consolatory burble. Evidently my attempts to safeguard you and yours are no longer required. Surplus to requirements. I shall thank you for saving my life in the Fourth City Fell, and shall leave you to put to your new one with its no doubt more exciting prospects. Wow, is she jealous? Batachikhan lets out an aggrieved whistling hoot. Ask Barkagin to remain. She's still useful. Don't go over this. Why, you already have each other. I will not plead when I am not wanted. I trust we will not see each other again. London is a large place. I will not say goodbye. My breath has been wasted enough. And off she goes. Pop! Lounce! By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. Huff. What an unpleasant person. I mean, that's... Wow. Wow. Deliberately misinterpreting this person. Very controlling. Alright, we go down to supper. I don't know where the others have got to. They do know when supper is served. Yep, it is Harjit. Good evening. I'm looking for Archibald. Is he here? Archie, he's upstairs. Listen. Yes? I know all the old maps have been outlawed, but if you've come for his atlas, do you think you could leave it with him? It gives him a lot of comfort remembering all those little villages in Scotland where his family used to live. I'm going to put in a good word for Archie's map collection. Yes, leave Archie his maps. He's not doing any harm with them. That isn't why I'm here. What? Let them keep chatting over the matter. Oh, is it to do with his doctoring? Hope no one's too ill. I know Archie worries trying to do a physician's work when he didn't finish his training. Does he often treat people? I'm going to discourage Horatia from answering that. Maybe we should find out why Harjit is here before we answer any more questions. Yes, don't talk to the cop. You may all find yourself assisting in inquiries sooner or later. This is the moment that Archie finally comes downstairs himself. This is the scene where Harjit arrests him. Harjit, I hope you're well. I'm sorry, Archibald. I'm here in the line of duty. It's about David Landau. Did something happen to him? I only saw him today. Shortly after your visit, he died by poisoning. Died? The poor man. React with shock. But I saw him very recently. May you rest peacefully. I'm sorry to have to bring you this news. Is Rachel alright? Is there anyone with her to protect the house? I'm supposed to speak with David. Alright, we've seen this. We're going to riffle through it very quickly. Here to arrest you for murder. I'm going to speak up for Archie. I'll ask where he's taking Archie. Yeah, you may beat the rap, but you will not beat the ride. Newgate Prison was destroyed in the fall. The HMS Ungulate. Yeah, we have talked about prison ships in the last run, and a all right, we're going to be flipping through here very quickly. Where they're burying him. Jewish graveyard at Balls Pond. Yeah, the Jewish graveyard by this time, the Jewish graveyard of London, I think would be out a ways. The graveyard trains were running way before now. Might be a dispute with their Spanish relatives. Their mother was buried somewhere else. Oh. So Rachel and David present sort of as Ashkenazic, but they might have Ladino-speaking relatives here. She did not think it would change the outcome. And we let Archie go. Balls Pond Road Cemetery, also known as Jewish Cemetery, Kingsbury Road Cemetery, Balls Pond Burial Ground, and the Jewish Burial Ground is a Jewish cemetery on Kingsbury Road in Canonbury in London N1. Was founded in 1843 and is owned by West London Synagogue. See if I can do a bit better on this run than I did last time. Alright, HMS Ungulate has been added. View the day. What all have we got going? We still have to do a few things. Accompany Patochkon to an audience with Mr. Pages. Wait a few more days before pestering Rachel about her novel as she is still grieving. Visit Archie. We just find out how to reach his publisher directly. Deliver filled census forms to Mr. Pages, which I think I could combine maybe with the top. I don't know. 3 days remaining in the season of confessions. We move on. We're not going to resolve Archie's issue today. I should find out who truly did it. Sciathar Veritas Rati Coelum. This may be difficult. Yeah. Craft questions. Way Archie showed me might take some doing. We must catch the true culprit for Rachel's sake. Right. I'm looking to put the right person in the hands of the law. What will become of London? Yada yada. We do need to find out what's happened here. Alright, let's see if there's a Recall of the Past available. Nope, we're down to I can't really remember. I'm out of other memories. Just float away again. Alright. Need to be mucking about in here. Am I wearing? That's fine. Head outside. I need to see. I'd love to know about some of this, but let's see. Let's see. Let's go and clear the census forms first. Then I'll bring Batachikon. Yes. Should change. I'll go on and put the ministry badge on for this, and then I'll switch back over to the amber to bring Batachikon. Excuse me. Now, let's see. Undercon Grizz has been agitated. She requested that we intervene in a matter of the Crown Court. This is not our custom. It concerns many things that do not interest us. In fact, Undercon Grizz herself instructed that each ministry be circumscripted. We observe an inconsistency in this. It causes us to question her judgment. Portray Grizz as humane. It's the only good option. Alright, let's give hand over the Batachikon. Trick is not to look at the back of the penny at all. Flukesponiken. There's a new word, Flukesponiken. It is notable they have advanced so far as the assignment of nomenclature. Do you have anything more? Yeah, the page about Barkingen. Her arrangements will not be novel. There's enough of my official duties. You will go home now. Just goodbye. You will go home now. You'll go home now. You've been here 3 hours. Damn it, I'm sorry. That was rude. That was racist. I'm sorry. God damn it. It just... shit that slips out. Change outfit, lapel, and over to the amber brooch, and go back, and head outside, and let us go. Bring Batachikon to meet Mr. Pages. Let's just move on. Yeah, I'm satisfied with this. Batachikon burbles a greeting. Wiggles his tentacles with nervous anticipation. Are you ready to meet Mr. Pages? He misses Barkagin's constant presence. Forlorn trumpeting noise. It indicates that he suspects she is stealing his idea to set up shop. Perhaps he knows more about her current whereabouts than he is saying, but he gives no further indication. He makes a resolute honk. It is of no concern of his. Wherever she is, he wonders where that might be. So, instead of going to look for Barkagin, let's go on and rally here. A brave little warble follows. Batachikon is as ready as you'll ever be. I am informated of a familiar visitation. I hope it will not be like that ghastly novel where the miser is inflicted with spirits, each more discrimonious than the last. Nice Dickens reference. Batachikon makes a shy warble. It conveys a sense of distant acquaintance, cautiously renewed. The Reverie-men glancingly know the masters? The intentacled ones. I had not thought to see you again. The past resurfaces in the most unexpectual ways. I hope the stitchments of past and present will not cause undue ruptitudes. I am going to express cautious hopes here, rather than reminding Mr. Pages of anything. A quadratorious notion. I hope we can put the past to bed. A quadratorious notion. Fetch shovel and verdure. Fetching shovel and verdure is for a burial. Tintinnabulate the church bells. Tintinnabulate is a lovely word. Tintinnabulation is an actual word, and I love that he is using this. Fetch shovel and verdure. Batachikhan makes excited, albeit nervous, hoots. I am informed you come not only with glad tidiments of resurrectionism, but also a proposition. Gestures wildly, and many orifices produce plangent warbles. Batachikhan is capable of talking out of several places. The cacophony is loud, but the sense is clear. Batachikhan requests not an introduction, but a license. The warbling continues. A magisterial cacophony, racophony. A magisterial racophony. And I wish I could understand it. The desire takes shape in oozing syllables, commerce, a license to trade, a shop of its own to trade from. The warbling ceases. Batachikhan gives you an expectant look. You must interpolate for me. Make a translation. I'll do my best. Batachikhan makes a worried warble. Batachikhan makes a second hooting attempt, ending with a defiant Uthataru. He is insistent that he requires a place of business from which to engage in the chief activity of London. That is, commerce. Pages looks at me, awaiting elucidation. I will translate accurately. Batachikhan wishes to open a shop. The master's outlawed charity, you know. Despite the evident excitables around the proposalment, I can see many flaws, obstacles, and errors. Commerce grows slowly, the economy not yet stabilized. To allow competition into such a fragile econology could prove disastrous. Econology, what a portmanteau. It is with a full heart I must decline, but it seems prudent that a more managed rapprochement between Rubbery and Londoner must begin. And with you already here as an embassy, I believe the process may begin. An ambassador, and an embassy in one. Mr. Pages loves portmanteau words. I shall send clerks to bedevil you shortly. That's a capricious day to you all. Batachikhan makes an anguished honk. There is a determination in his tone, but there is no blame. He makes a final defiant Thutharu. This is not the end. But there will be work regardless. The re-emergence of the Rubberyman is not a small matter. He will return to the Warrens. He hopes to see me soon. For now, he is very tired. Okay, goal complete. It's getting late, so I'm heading back home. We'll go to dinner, which is not going to be much. Feels wrong not having Archie at his seat. Okay, we're going through this again here. Let's riffle through it. Chidder for doubting him. Does his best to read sermon. Market improvement when I see it. His Billy had not seen before. His preaching was very red-faced. He's not ill, is he? Offer to look in on him. Could look in at St. Albans. That would be a kindness. Hope he isn't ill. I'm not going to St. Dunstan's for Sunday service. The vicar there has notions. Oh dear. The vicar there has notions. That's concerning. Well, we need to start visiting people who might have information or opinions and observe and get to know them. Up a couple pennies. Alright, that's all the way down at the bottom. We need to visit Archie, and we need to do some investigation. Onward, onward, onward. Another morning, another newspaper. Beware ailments caused by lack of sunlight. Cholera, scurvy, female distemper. Female distemper is brought about by lack of orgasms. That's why doctors in the Victorian era invented the vibrator. If I'm not too occupied otherwise, I can always ask my friends and acquaintances whether there's anything they need from me. No, I mean, you go to the doctor, the doctor uses a vibrator, gives you an orgasm, you leave feeling much better. Of course, it says something that you had to go to a doctor for it, that their partner could. Okay, this is burnt out. Got nothing left in Recall the Past, at least for now. Exclamation points all over the place. HMS Ungulate, we need to talk to Archie. Boarding house, various things going on here. Is it Rachel? Hogsline Market. Bazaar. Can I go to St. Albans? No. Can't go to the synagogue either. Sunken Parliament, there's no point. Well, let's go to the Ungulate and go on and get this done. Just like this, I shouldn't go anywhere near the prison hulk without Harjit. Walking advertisement. Yeah, I have to wear a prison coat to get there. Can I? I don't have the prisoner's jacket. I'm going to have to go with what I've got. Until I have the prisoner's coat, which I don't think I get until next season. Alright, let's just riffle through that. Just manage another errand today. Head out. And... not useful. Need to... We can visit Rachel. I'm going to ask about Horatia, about in the basement. Let's just find out. You know what? I think destroying the evidence here is a good idea. It's sad, but... Why did that one... Huh. Alright, we've got to rework this. Mr. Pages, knew the needs changed. Gullible and used in a strategy. Mission of survival. Save and exit. Alright, head outside. All that's left is going down to supper. We'll just riffle through this. No, that's about it. Grizz isn't even here, and there's no conversation. Okay, craft a manifesto and make sure Archie has what he needs to deliver it. That's where I have to go buy things and stuff. Okay. On we go. On we go. Let's see where what we can get through here. One day remains in the season of confessions. And then we roll forward to the season of Yule, and things get much more dire, and oh dear. Orgiastic parties of legendary Viscountess threaten virtue, reputation of ordinary citizens. How? If she's having... You know, if she's throwing an orgy... How does... you know ordinary citizens aren't going to be invited. Nope, still burnt out. What have we got? Ungulate. I can deliver the final manifesto. Visit Rachel. Let's see, anybody I can talk to about David's death here, which is annoying as hell. Let's bounce this manifesto off of Grizz. Grizz would like to extend She's so bougie. No one now can come up from their estates. That didn't go anywhere useful. Bloody hell. Alright, let's just go on and deliver the final manifesto to Archie and see what he thinks of it. It's not much, but it'll have to work. The only way I can get out of that mess is to have the prisoner's coat. He wants prisoners, honey. Alright, fine. But we gotta find the Menace Eradicator. Which I think I've got to talk to Harjit about. Let's go. There are more and more hints that Archie is not who he says he is. Alice, greetings, welcome. Glad to see you here. We are banging our way through Run 2 here, and have worked our way through a substantial part of the plot involving the Rubbery Men. At this point, I think we've completed everything there. Yeah, we've completed all the tasks on that. I've got to go talk to Harjit, which I'm not thrilled with, but that's just the way life is. Alright. Not going to bother with Recall the Past. We burnt it out. Head outside. What? What is going on downstairs? Furious pounding on the front door. Rachel is already talking to Grizz and Horatia. Rachel Landau. After I didn't kill anyone. Not certain of that, and my brother was certainly dead. But you were quick to make accusations. I've come to ask your help, and maybe to free your friend as well. This will be drawn. Reaching. I think he may not be dead anymore. Oh, this is where we go dig up the grave. I have a shovel in the basement. Mostly for coal, but it'll do. Horatia doesn't even ask questions. She's like, I have a shovel. Yeah, why didn't you bring Phoebe? At home in bed. She's not up to much lately. She sobs and asks what will become of us and counts her rosary beads. Her brother that died. Alright, here we go. We dig. Let's propose an ingenious way of checking for life. There's no smell. Not alive. Milton. I believe Mr. Mirrors is to blame for sending dreams. Let's just go home. I had you digging up graves. The least I can do is offer a pot of tea. Baggage. What? Hello, I let myself in. I was. No, you aren't. Not for the past couple of hours. It took a little time to return. Then you weren't here. What in the... what? You don't much resemble it. I didn't wake in my grave. I came to myself standing in the midst of London. At one moment I was crossing the last river, and then the boatman put me back ashore. What? The last river? There was a boat full of the dead, and the boatman carrying us all to the far shore. Smith? Yeah. Someone needs to inform Harjit that Mr. Lando is not dead. Someone did murder me. I was poisoned. It was excruciating. He isn't dead now. Support Rachel, listen with ghoulish curiosity, or taking a particular line. I'm going to support Rachel. Ask who was here that day. Oh dear, Milton. Alright, let's just poke through this here. And we've done this before, so I'm riffling through it rather quickly. No tea with a bitter flavor and a gritty texture at the bottom of the cup. Arsenic. Not as much. One always has a sense of poisoning victims being especially unobservant. Let's finish this conversation. Should go home and leave you to your conversation. Imagine there's a great deal to say here. Heh. There are times when you must. You may say it wasn't. Well. Alright, we have finished the season of confessions. We are heading outside, and there's only for Archie to come home. Except he's not, is he? Except he won't be. People stop pretending when an animal speaks that it was imagination. Cats have no such compunctions. And we roll forward to the season of Yule. The cats are talking. Well, we've got a lot of new stuff here, thanks to there being in a new season. Let's go on and start working our way through it. The Illustrated London News. Oh, good grief. I've read the Illustrated London News. As a matter of fact, I used some illustrations from it in the 1879 books, because by now it's all public domain. Let's see. The crowd gathered to see the deaths. They don't hang as many people as they used to. Yeah, yeah. The Queen with Prince Albert and the children and a Christmas tree. Prince Albert not hanging as many people is good? Yeah, it is. Wow. Well, it's the British Empire, and they were bloodthirsty. But yeah, Prince Albert introduced the Christmas tree. It was a Germanic tradition. Introduced it to Britain. He was very determined that his children would have a Christmas like he had as a child. From the research I've done, Albert was a better father than Victoria was a mother, but then Victoria was the queen first and a mother fourth or fifth? I mean, really? Alright, what stories am I building? I've got the manifesto and I got the tragic ending, and I need to, let's see, okay, Thrall Street, to speak to Harjit about what's happened. It's all I can do. Have you done anything? Yeah, whatever. Throw somebody to the cops to get Archie out. I haven't talked with the, Alright. I need to know where the Minister Eradicator's shop is. There we go, Ferret's shop. The Menace Eradicator. Let's see. Trying to draw a personal connection given that my family were dock workers. A warning about the pub at the corner. Bring help. And fire. Oh dear. The pub at the corner. If the publican hires you to clear the place, bring help. And fire. Let's move on. That'll be spiders. Let's see. Sam's never like this on the surface. Yeah, we had a different set in it. Bad bit of beef, transportation to Australia, sunburns. You know, transportation to Australia was a life sentence with no possibility of commutation. Putting that in the middle of the between a bad bit of beef and sunburns. Wow. Ingredients for Archie. There's a disguise so I can trail people. I can get a blend in with servants, something sheet. Oh, there's where I get it. But I need to get the ingredients for Archie first. Rely on the honor of the criminal fraternity. You might be acquainted. I will pay a fair price. Don't drink the one with the white wax on the cork. I come to think of it, don't drink any of them. I went looking for the Ragged School, but they ain't to be found where they used to be. Now, the Ragged Schools were a thing. Ooh. Let's see. Assignment. Motivator. I'm going to blame the Carringhams and the culprit as Phoebe. Somehow influenced and somehow... for 1879. Um... Gee, there's a legendary and mythical city beneath the waters of the lake near Nizhny Novgorod. I could have used that. Oh well. Word from up the Kumayan Canal. Her former betrothed is alive and well and has married someone much wealthier than she was. Adds a proper payment. Okay. Oh, I got a penny out of it. Getting a penny out of it gets me closer to maybe getting that coat. I'm going to go with wild and profuse gratitude. Let's go with flirtatious thanks. Let's flirt with her at this point. If you continue like this, you might find some of your bon mots in my next novel. Mr. Tune, am I writing, I'm afraid. An enlivening conversation. Alright, I'm not going to try to kiss her. She's walking away going, yeah, I need to go right. Go back to rations. Learning of her romantic abandonment. That's locked in. Regretted relationship. Fled London. Oh, wait a minute. We can't have her flee London. There isn't anywhere to flee to. Died. Struggled with regret. Save and exit. Got that much of it. Head outside. We go down to dinner. A Clayman. Ask about the practicalities. Can he move, or does he just stand in the corner? Let's point. Haven't you noticed that I can't go outside anymore? Oh, and there he is. And we still have not identified the sigil on his forehead, nor have we identified which direction it's supposed to go. Polythreum, the living island. It is often harmonious. There's very little screaming. I don't know. I picture Polythreme as sort of a nightmarish version of Sid and Marty Croft's world. Because, you know, in the Croft world, everything was a character. Let's just riffle through this. I've done it before. Support Horatia because, yeah. was looking for someone in the last city, and London falling on top of it was a bit of a shock. If I were a housebreaker, I'd give him a wide berth. I have some questions about moral accounting. Oh, let's see. I did, like voted. Alright, playing through it. We have room for one more. Alright, Grizz, fine. Moss and the King. There we go. Alright. Let's see, where are we at this point? We are going down to hosting a visitor before bed. Who am I having as a visitor? Oh. Moss has come up here. There are no stairs. There is marble. Excuse me. No, I'm not going to laugh it off. Moss is asking about the social rules here and about whether or not he's doing well in conforming with them. There is something somewhat autistic, I think, about Moss's presentation that he is concerned. There are rules. I need to know them, and I need to know how I'm doing at following them. So I'm going to go with the best of a bad lot of options. Muddling is a state for boots and urns. Mixed drinks? Fruit in? Alright, what do we got here? Take Archie his provisions from Ferret. I've got to get the prisoner's coat first to do that. So... we move on. Townhouse fire. Wild-haired and introspective students rescued. Outbreak blamed on unauthorized hexagonal map. Masters warn against unlicensed cartography. This is a new one. Unauthorized hexagonal map. Wild-haired and introspective students. What were they playing? D&D? Mapping out London for dungeons? The gamers cut capers with sheets of graph paper. They're mapping the halls out for dungeons again. Oh. I'm gonna have to go back to through the VOD and see if that line gets muted, because that's actually to the tune of The Alamo, which is a folk song and is public domain. We've got a new list of Recall the Past here. Rishi and Grizz still aren't very comfortable together. Oh! Always talked as if she wished she were somewhere else. And she didn't have trousers yet. She's also got her hair done a bit better, and yes, still looking very upper class. Ah, scripture. It's, not Leviticus. That's a book with all the putting to death. Isaiah. The painting was a gift to my father from Quaker friends. Quakers are pretty decent people from what I've met. The ones I've met. Alright, building a story. We didn't get anything new, so let's move on. Head outside. Okay, we've got a lot of things going on here. I can go to Ferret's shop. I could take the census with Ferret, which would get me a coin that I could then maybe spend on getting that coat. Because I know that coat's going to be more than a penny. Ferret may find the pen amusing. Satisfied with this? Dress to put out a policeman's eye sounds like a good idea. Ferret Wilson or Ferret Clark would be a terrible disappointment. Ferret's the only name I go by. And no one saw fit to tell me if it was a forename or a surname. Lord and Lady Stoutweasel. See, there's nothing on it about gender. Doesn't ask anything about whether the person is male or female. Oh, that's good. Can't say I've ever liked answering that one. We noticed that Ferret uses a them, they, them pronoun. I'll sympathize, even if my own concerns are otherwise, because, you know... Yeah, I don't fit in either, no. And I don't. Let's simply ask. No rats, though. That's going to change. I'm going to laugh about that. You won't find any parish documents, nor a christening. Yeah. Told it ain't polite. Uh-huh. Question that obvious. Do nothing to stem. Let's just let it ride. The weeping statues. Oh, hello. I've acquired Algernon. There we go. Algernon. Make a polite introduction. I mean, he's well spoken. Oh, more whiskers. Spitterit. Who's it? The Precedent. Yeah, a Presbyterate would be an entire new division. We don't want that. We... Is likely to cause upset. I'll blow that for a game of soldiers. Alright, let's see. It does look unkindly on using the wafers and traps. I can't imagine why. No, I'll agree. Sure. Yeah, might as well. Or some holy fool found her way down here and told him how to squeak properly. Alright. Looking to ferrets goods for sale. I need to know how much that's going to run me. All for a penny. And mind the stains, but it's got long sleeves, so it's more than... well! Bloody heck. Oh, absolutely. Let's plan to befriend a ferret. He seems a decent sort. They seem a decent sort. See what comes of this then, shall we? They seem a decent sort. A rat taught speech, rescued, still wanders beneath, distrusted. Good heavens, all sorts of things cropping in here. Okay, whew, build a story. Build a story, tell the side. Story here. Someone still locked, taught speech. Still wanders beneath. For eternal gratitude. Joined congregation. Save and exit. We don't have the someone yet. Quite. We need a few more pieces here. Could get Ferret's page in, but I'd rather save them up until I've got a few more than one. Let's do the census with Moss. Going to just be straightforward with Moss. I am not unfinished. I still serve the king. To be finished is to be complete. To be complete is to be in harmony with his grace. Oh. Sympathize. For I was made in his image. Well, we know what the King of 100 Hearts looks like, standing right in front of us. Reminiscent of two boulders colliding. Answer, honestly, that I have. Let's see. No, walk apart from it here. No. Noise issues from a heavy chest. Like, help? Your hat is being shouty. I must assume crowns are quick to adapt the customs of their wearers. Tradition, deliver the latest. And then your city fell on it. Mixture of history, requiring such a noise. Ew. First, the city was in a state of anarchy, and then another city fell on top of it. Oh dear. It is intended for the recipient's head. You're going to have to wear the crown. Breathe darkly. Be glad to be rid of them. I make screaming most nights. I had not wish to comment. Alright, I now have the Horned Crown. There are always risks in wearing a hat with opinions of its own. Are those teeth inside it? I really hope not. I don't want my head eaten by a hat. You whisper your dreams to it. I do not believe it will take advantage of this knowledge. A drop of water on marble. Sympathize with his burden. Yes, I will. I'll take the side quest. Sure. Going all chthonic again here. Has not authorized dreams. Used to be the province of crowns. Moss under limestone, who unworthily bears the face of our king. Hear the crown's secret. It's for fear. So close in reach, were he to fail, he would be deemed unfinished. All right. We've done this one before. I'm kind of riffling through it rather quickly. Let's see. Go down to supper. I have the prisoner's coat. Let's see. I didn't want them. He's trying to be kind. They're in a bone. Oh, what? Or dolls. Oh, that. You know what? I'm going to suggest I prefer the doll over the real Grizz and just be absolutely flippant. And break it. This should rid me of you. Unlike him, they don't move. Yet. Afraid of a body snatcher's fusion of little clayman. Oh. Sorry, yours is not ready. Insinuate his doll as a love gift. Are you courting Moss? I've been a courtier for some time. Oh, not as such, but I'm glad they are finding favor. His garden of statues, all made in his image. Wow, this guy has a garden of statues made in his image. I mean, we know kings are egotistical, but having a garden of statues of yourself. Could be a little less lifelike. It is their genius, but you know the others better. I'll take advisement. And they're little dolls. It doesn't seem to be a big deal. She's... Alright. I've got a lot to do. I've got quite a lot to do here, but... we... are running out of time here. I'll wait for the save. New Anglican Synod disbanded under accusations of infiltration by imposters. What? We have reached the top of the hour, and our time here is up. There's a URL on the screen now for the Truck Community streaming schedule. Highly recommend visiting it. We have a good community of people who stream every night. We've got things going on constantly throughout the week. I'd like to remind people that, as it says on the game screen, that trans rights are human rights, and that Black Lives Matter and Indigenous Lives Matter, and that land back is not a metaphor. And as I say at the end of each stream, if we don't figure this stuff out, we know how to get along with each other, and if we don't get to it, get over ourselves, we're not going to make it out of here alive. Horatia's work of looking out for others, I decided to emulate in the game, and it's worth emulating in real life. There's a lot of discussion and a lot of lessons and a lot of stuff in this game that's being very interesting. Things to think about. We have plummeted into the earth already. Oceans are rising, the climate is perhaps not even recoverable. We don't know. But I am old, and unfortunately, there's only so much left I can do. Folks, we all need to be working on this. As it says on the screen, your companionship on this journey has been appreciated. I will be returning next week with more of Fallen London and more of our second run through the story in an attempt to see what else we can uncover. We've already unlocked one entire storyline. Let's see if we can get a better outcome for Archie this time than just having the rats break him out and then hide him in the cellar. It's not as good as I'd like. So, until next week, safe journey, space fans, wherever you may